Oh, here. This is Terrence Howard.
When you say rebuild the periodic table, what do you mean specifically?
Well, the way the periodic table is laid out, the periodic table they have now,
Let's see.
it looks like a box.
Image of it.
That hydrogen has the same tone as carbon.
What do you mean by tone?
Same tone, same key of E. Same key of E, 40.5 hertz. The next one would be like 81 hertz. You go to silicon, it will double up and would be 162 hertz. You'll go to cobalt and it'll be 324 hertz. It's take the angles of incidence or the tones that they create, their color. Like you can turn color back into sound. So all you have to do is keep dividing light by 2 and you'll ultimately get back to the audible sound of it.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I have no fucking idea what he's saying. Maybe he's just operating on a plane, operating on a plane of existence that is like way too fucking high IQ for me to understand. All I know is serve top of the hour ad break, eat hot chip and lie, bro. I can't tell if what he's saying, he says it convincingly. Whatever the fuck he's saying, it seems correct. Divide the light by 2. What does that mean? Like, what is he do? I don't know what he's saying at all, bro. Here's the analysis of this. No, absolutely not. That is insane. If you think I'm going to read this level, like if you think, what? This is a fucking AI guy. I'm not reading that either. Well, Hasan, don't be fooled. It's just as dumb as Jordan Peterson using big words to fool his viewers. Yeah, but Jordan Peterson enters my wheelhouse. When he starts talking about social sciences, that's my fucking pocket. I know all that shit. I know exactly what he's trying to say, and I know exactly why he's wrong when he tries to say it. Chemistry, on the other hand, I don't know a single fucking thing about, and I don't want to know a single fucking thing about chemistry. Please, do not let me learn anything about chemistry.
Walter Russell's periodic table that he put together. Now you compare that to Mendeleev's periodic table, and you'll see something completely different. It's unwinding.
Whoa. So you had figured this out at a young age?
I had already seen this. This was all inside of that palace. I had access to it, and I knew the relationship.
So you saw this in dreams?
I saw it as a circle. Everything was a full circle laid out, and each area was just expanding, like wrapping a rag around your hand. The first thing that we're able to perceive is hydrogen. That's the first visible element, because before it is too dense for us to perceive it. You understand what I'm saying? As you reach
No, Joe does not understand what you're saying. You want to know why Joe doesn't understand what you're saying? Because I don't understand what you're saying. And if I can't understand what you're saying, there ain't no fucking way Joe Rogan, who is a self-described ape, understands what the fuck you're saying at all.
If you have lithium bonded with any other element, the moment that fluorine is introduced, it will break all bonds violently so it can bond with fluorine. Same thing with beryllium and oxygen. That's why it said, and what they've tried to keep from us, if you want to break water into its component parts of hydrogen and oxygen, all you have to do is introduce beryllium or the sound of beryllium, and oxygen will violently break away from any other thing, even hydrogen, to bond with that beryllium.
What does he mean by the sound of beryllium? I'm trying to pick up what he's putting down, okay? What does that mean? Like each chemical has a frequency attached to it that and the frequency itself can basically create that chemical in the real world without actually, or make other chemicals react to it as though it exists by just vibrating it? Is that what he's trying to say? If that was true, wouldn't that be you just fart into your fucking gas tank, and if you hit the actual brown note frequency of petroleum, then all of a sudden you just, you filled up your gas tank? Isn't that how that would work? Yeah, I'm actually in my basement hitting frequencies for enriched uranium. I figured out a way to recreate the frequency of enriched uranium, and now I'm actually selling it to Iran. Yes, because all chemicals come from the same element. This element transforms itself based on the frequency in a different chemical. That's what he's saying, yes. Alchemic conversion through sonic frequencies can induce chemical reaction. It's true that, yes, they have chemical frequencies, sort of, that will produce specific ranges of light when the electrons fall back down. But if I just use light, that doesn't mean I'm going to make up new chemicals with shit that isn't there. Not exactly. Everything gives off a vibration tone. He just doesn't understand what it means. Okay, give me more of Terrence Howard. Now I need to understand his fascinating mind.
So you believe that the sun is the origin of these planets.
Of all the planets. Every solar
solar system
within its solar system gives birth to all of these other planets. This is what Walter Russell had talked about. This is what Neil deGrasse, and they attacked him for, because he talked about the drift, this natural drift, and that didn't make more sense. And they didn't have the idea of dark matter and dark energy then.
Right.
They didn't even come up with that. And now we understand 4% of the universe is visible, and 75% of it, 70% of it is dark energy, and 20-something% of it is dark matter. Unperceivable things. And they say that's because they needed to figure out how would they get the spin and create and have the galaxies.
Why do they
the
hold
spiral
together?
galaxies.
Right.
Well, what my team did, Chris Seeley, who's my he's my Scotty. We use the same simulator that they use at Princeton, and we took linchpins, and we haven't even.
I now understand why he's not in any movies. I remember seeing this guy in some movies back in the day, and I just kind of forgot about him, other than like whatever characters he plays in said movies. And now I totally understand why he's no longer in movies, because he's out there cracking the code. What's the code? I don't know.
We took linchpins, this configuration of where 6 pentagons meet, and we put them in particular order.
He brought props.
There's a link for that right inside of the thing that James Pellegrini sent over to you, if you'll pull that up. And we rebuilt the planet Saturn. This is at the very beginning of my book. That's why I went on that at the Emmys, and I was like, look,
Motherfucker wrote a book?
I've got something else to do. I've been able to rebuild Saturn without gravity, with no animation, and then they clowned it.
I guess in a way it's like, you know, debate lords thinking that like they can actually change reality through debate, through healthy, reasonable debate. If I gish gallop my way out of this conversation, you will be owned, and therefore society will change. It's like, that's not what politics is. Politics is about a distribution of resources and power. It's about who gets to wield said power. Communicating your desires can be helpful in that conquest, but that's all it is.
Of course they did.
clowned
Well, this
it.
is not something that you could say in a soundbite, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you. This is not something like your explanation of these things and your description of the very nature of reality itself is not something that should be taken lightly.
No.
It's something that, like,
Thank you for saying that.
it needs to be laid out, and it needs to be slowly examined in because you've obviously spent a lot of time working on this. This thing here. So play this, Jake.
Play it.
And you'll see that you get a surface of the sphere on the inside with the heavier particles.
Are you basically saying?
What the fuck are they
you're saying
watching?
that
Yes, this is a particle simulation of the physics involved in making up the
just
planet
physics.
Saturn. So the heavier particles are creating the red and the green here where the hexagon is, and those are the heavier ones creating the shell of the planet. And then the outside are lighter particles that are a fluid that's creating the counter rotation of.
Is this him rebuilding Saturn without gravity? Is that what he's doing? Like he's rebuilding a 3D model of Saturn? Why is it that people like Joe Rogan never actually have genuine subject matter experts and will spend like 8 hours listening to this fucking guy? Like if Joe Rogan was this fucking charitable and open-minded to Dr. Rhonda Patrick, he wouldn't have gone down the fucking anti-vaxxer route so hard. And Dr. Rhonda Patrick is his friend, you know what I mean? Of many, many years. God, I'm such a fucking Joe Rogan simp for even knowing any of those things. But for real, if he had this level of open-mindedness to like any number of actual subject matter experts that he had, like any scientist that he had, that he has known for many, many years, he would not have become this like rabid fucking anti-vaxxer guy. Because Terrence is an anti-vaxxer too. I mean, that would be the least shocking thing I found out about him after all of these other things that I found out about him.
Like if you picture dropping a pebble into a pond or a pool, everything expands in these longitudinal waves,
Right.
perfect spheres, unless there's something else in there. But when it hits the edge, it all starts bouncing its way back. And when it meets, when these returning waves meet expanding waves, that's when we get our first geometry. So this is the proof that the universe is not infinite, but finite. because you could not have shape with.
Wait, what? You can't have shape without an edge? Like, is everything shaped like ripples in the water? What the fuck? The average voter believe in this, by the way? No, the average voter has no idea what the fuck this is.
Out the returning waves, and the waves would not return unless it was bouncing off of the edge of something.
Look how strange that is.
Bingo.
Look how strange that hexagon on the top of of Saturn is.
Yep, and then we don't even, and
That is so crazy.
He explains exactly how he built it, all the angles of incidence, all the pressure systems that he used.
Why is it so important for him to not have gravity? Doesn't gravity solve everything that he's talking about with respect to like how these planets exist? I don't understand. Why does he think that gravity is not, does he not think that gravity is real? Like, what the fuck is happening? Flat earthers don't believe in gravity. Wait, what? Is he a flat earther too? I mean, that wouldn't be shocking.
And we rebuilt the Milky Way galaxy the same way, and it predicts the star arrangement better than NASA does.
Look at this. Whoa. Boom. Look how they're sliding all over the place. I mean, that is fucking ice.
Yeah.
That guy can't stop his car. Look, he's just going to slide in that car behind him. This is ridiculous.
Is that
You
Portland?
What the fuck does this have to do with it? This is the most Joe Rogan clip of all time. Bro, none of this is connected to one another. This is that age-old Joe Rogan clip where it's like the guy who goes like, yeah, have you ever seen a monkey rip out the throat of a human? Like,
Stop it.
Oh, shit.
Boom. And
he's
that
still
car's
going.
sliding. They're all sliding. The whole thing is ice.
Terrence Howard claims black holes don't exist.
Black holes came from the thought of gravity going crazy. When gravity goes,
Yeah, but it's fake, right? Gravity's fake. He thinks gravity is fake.
light won't even be able to escape from it because light was thought as moving as a particular
Right.
constant. We've just killed that.
What do you think a black hole is?
It doesn't exist. There aren't black holes. There's no spot where where energy goes in and never comes back out. There's no place in the universe where the information paradox occurs, where there isn't a balance. Something gets contracted and never comes out. That's not how the universe behaves. It comes in and it goes out. When Newton said that gravity pulls down, if he had with that apple, yes, the apple was attracted to like conditions on the earth. It was attracted to like conditions. If he had spent another week or 2 weeks watching that apple, he would have watched the gases go right back up to where they were equalized. Everything, if it comes this way, it has to go this way. You breathe in, you.
What the fuck? Bro said Newton didn't do his research, dude. TikTok debunked everything he said, by the way. Wait, why? I feel like this would be, what he's saying is like exactly what I think TikTokers would believe.
So what do you think they're detecting when they're detecting black holes?
What that shift that they're talking about, that's the tornado. Remember, there's a vortice. There's all these huge vortices. Everything is spinning around a vortice. So a collection of larger vortices is going to have the same thing that's happening at the center of the galaxy is happening in the center of a hurricane. It's happening in your toilet stool.
Which is why the galaxy is a circular disk in the first place.
Everything, all motion is expressed in waves. All waves are expressed in curves. It always makes spirals.
So because of the concept of gravity and because of the concept of this event horizon, this super point of gravity,
Oh my God, I want Joe Rogan to become a flat earther who doesn't believe in gravity so bad. That'd be so sick.
that this exists because of the
their
theory
math
of gravity.
and their math. Remember, they have a thing called zero.
Bro, he's a real hater. He's like, them Arabs, they created a thing called zero. It's a lie. Think, Joe, think. Al Jazeera, Al Qaeda, Al Jabra. That's right. They invented zero.
Electricity tries to get to its balanced state. Right when it gets there, magnetism takes over and it pushes over. So there's this pendulum. And as soon as it gets to this state, it bounces off that other noble gas and it makes its way all the way back over here and it's about to have equanimity. And then it gets pulled back into the other direction. And that's the breathing in and breathing out and the pendulum effect that we've all observed in natural phenomena in the universe.
And that's a part of everything.
Everything behaves that way. Every one of our cells. Comes down to our cells are made up of water, mostly water, 80%, 90% water somewhere. Water is hydrogen. Hydrogen has 12 vortices. That's behaving with it. 12 opposing vortices.
Isn't this like what is it called? The Fibonacci sequence or whatever? But vortices? It's called science fiction. It's his own version of it. What is he saying? Vertice? Dude, I'm too stupid to understand any of this. Or I'm not stupid enough to understand any of this. It's one or the other. But also at the same time, I feel like I just haven't hit his frequency. You know what I mean? If I was just a little bit dumber, I swear I would be like, yeah, it's making a lot of sense. Like, guys, this is, bro, I swear to God, this is exactly how stem cells and people who love debate and stuff get caught up in figures that they perceive as like charismatic. They don't have the appropriate knowledge in the field, so they just look at like a confident charlatan, preach sweet nothings to them, and if it makes sense, then it's like, oh yeah, this guy's actually brilliant. This is literally how it works. If I was like 35% dumber as far as science goes, maybe I can find myself listening to what he's saying and be like, yeah, this is how stem cells get caught up with Jordan Peterson. They don't know the concepts at all. They've done no reading on it. They've never investigated it. Jordan Peterson is just the first to be there and tell them, no, the way you see the world is actually correct. So then they just get caught up in that shit. This ain't my wheelhouse at all.
So like waves colliding.
Yes,
And
from
retreating.
the other star systems. They have an expanding, they have expanding solar winds. Mm-hmm. So when they meet our star meets the solar wind from another star at that end of that spot. Now there's two pressure conditions. So you have another Lagrange spot. And if they hit at 120 degrees, because that's how the universe is arranged, now these things become electric.
So does this account for stellar nurseries?
Yes. But everything in the universe is just electricity. And we call it magnetism when it's devitalized, but it's still electricity. We call the radiative side, it's the feminine side. And the contractive side is the positive, masculine side. It's a balance, and it's never been anything but that balance, and we've complicated it with a lie.
If you're right, so many people are wrong.
Everyone's
Joe! That's awesome. God, Joe is back in his wheelhouse, dude.
The universe backs me up, and I have the proof of it. You have all these physicists that's saying something different, but none of them have 97 patents.
Wait, this guy has 97 patents? For what?
None of them have introduced a new form of flight with unlimited midair bond.
He's introduced a new form of flight? What the fuck is he saying, bro? The thing I never understand about guys like this, and just like conspiracy theorists, fabulists of all different sorts of interests, is that it requires an unimaginable amount of time and investment to come up with these alternative theories and to, I guess, quote unquote, investigate and do the reading. And in that same exact time frame, you could have just learned the actual science. It blows my fucking mind. If I invested this much time and effort into something that is objectively wrong, I would be so sad. And on the other end of this, when you do invest this much time and effort into it, you just end up holding on to these ideas because now you've made the investment. There's probably a level of narcissism too, and it's like, well, I came up with this stuff and I'm brilliant, so the stuff I came up with must be solid. His patents? Oh God, we found his patents. Let's see. System and method for merging virtual reality and reality to provide diamond earring with washer, diamond jewelry. Wait, that's it? Those are the only patents he has? Here's his hydrogen technology that he created for Uganda.
As a child, I studied chemical engineering at Pratt Institute, was there for 2 years until I saw that there was an inconsistency with the math there. And so I went out to explore a new way of understanding how the universe works, and I was able to define the grand unified field equation they've been looking for and put it into geometry. And what I'm saying is now we have invented a new form of flight that I would like to bring here to Uganda to replace the drones, to replace the helicopters, to replace the planes. What we need is just a fertile ground in which to build this. Now, this is the geometry of hydrogen.
Hydrogen.
This is the proton itself. So any bond that hydrogen can make, our linchpins are able to make. So we're talking about unlimited bonding, unlimited predictable structures, supersymmetry. The linchpins are now able to behave as a swarm, as a colony that can defend a nation, that can harvest food, that can remove plastics from the ocean, that can give the children of Uganda and the people of Uganda an opportunity.
It's pretty crazy that, like, in this day and age, you can just literally, if you're famous and rich enough, you could just have a schizophrenic episode, and like an entire nation that has been used and abused historically will offer you safe passage and an opportunity to just have that schizophrenic episode in broad daylight. Like, that's wild. Think about that, dude. Think about how fucking fascinating that is. Like this guy's just out of control. I'm not going to read his paper, dude. It's because I'm scared of the truth, okay?
None of them have discovered 4 supersymmetrical systems. This is what we've done. This is what the collective is able to do when you put yourself into the divine space. Because that spirit is waiting. It's just like, okay, are you going to make yourself available for it?
So let me ask you this. If I had a magic wand and I allowed you to not just show this, but allowed all of these people that have these opposing ideas, you debate them, you duke it out, you emerge victorious with this magic wand, and now people go, just listen to Terrence.
Well, then once we write new axioms and new postulates based off the real wave conjugations. Now we adjust our understanding of our physics to fit natural phenomena. And then we are in balance with it, and we have to let go of the idea of this currency. We're the only creatures in the known universe that uses currency, that uses an indirect form of payment instead of a direct exchange.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. Here's a take that you might not be ready for. Terrence Howard is basically living definitional proof that the way I see the world is correct, and the way you see the world is correct as well, that homeless people who are experiencing dire circumstances and have, like, you know, genuine mental health complications would be significantly better off if they had money and shelter. Because what he is saying here, after being able to take a warm bath and after being able to pay for an Uber ride over to the Joe Rogan compound, is identical to the fucking homeless guy down the street. The only difference is that homeless guy down the street is shitting in his fucking pants and is devoid of shelter. That's it. 1 to 1. Literally 1 to fucking 1. Every homeless person could be like Terrence Howard if they just had a house. Unironically. How the fuck are we not housing everybody, dude? Seriously. That is not a good thing. Yes, it is, bro. Yes, it is. To the outsider, like, he just seems like a normal guy. I had no fucking clue he was insane like this. Why? Because he's able to carry himself a certain way. Because he has certain amenities and certain incredibly important things necessary for survival readily available to him. Because of his acting career and all the money that he made. He's rich. So when you're rich and you have this class status, all of a sudden, it don't matter. It's the same dynamic that exists with people that constantly are like, oh, these guys are doing drugs on the streets. They're doing fucking drugs on the streets. They're on heroin on the streets. It's like, bitch, so is your mom. It's just that she has a Xanax prescription and she gets to do it at home. So you don't think about it in the same exact way. But there's no difference in many respects. That's literally it. My point is, basically, if we treated every single person with dignity, like they were human beings, and they had access to running water and buy clothes, clean clothes, and launder them and shit like that, ultimately, they could be just like Terrence Howard. It's not a good point. Nobody wants more influential people like Terrence. No, dude, I'm not saying that, like, you're missing the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that if Terrence Howard didn't fucking get super lucky and, like, you know, get into acting and make a shit ton of money, he would literally be no different than the dude that you look in the other direction of coming out of the fucking subway station. I'm not saying that every homeless person is going to go on Joe Rogan and go to Uganda. My point is there should be a base level of things that we give everyone so that they can be human beings and be seen as human beings and be perceived as human beings. He would have more money if he just took the Iron Man 2 gig. Give the homeless people money so they can pitch in front of the Ugandan state. If you have to explain it, you've lost the war already, homie. I know. He's awesome. I didn't want to originally dive into this, but now that we have, I'm much more knowledgeable. I've learned the ways in which the world works, the universe.